I was taught here in Hawaii, and I was taught by my father, who was a master carver over at the Polynesian Culture Center, and he was taught by John Taipa back in New Zealand. It was actually the Taipa brothers, John and Penny Taipa, and they taught my dad in the old way, learning the myths, legends, actual events, and also learning about each and every one of the chisels. At the time, I didn't really have much of a choice in the matter. I was getting into mischief, and my father decided to take me to work. And so he opened a book in both our lives that he wasn't able to close. By taking me to work, he gave me a set of tools, and I cleaned them up. I was taught how to sharpen my chisels, and then from there, I started learning just from some of the other guys that were in the village, or in the crew, and just some of the stories that they were doing with the carvings, because you put stories to your carvings, and some of them contain those myths, legends, and actual events. There's a piece in the Maori village, in the old carver's hut that's there, and it's not quite finished because they give me so much work to do that I have never had quite the time to finish this guy. And the figure's name is Hanui Orangi, and he represents the winds, the father of winds untamable. So that cool, calm breeze that you feel, that's him. The heavy-duty ones that knock over buildings and make a big mess, that's him also. So he's very unpredictable. Anyway, one day, well, I had just started working on him, and back then I used a chainsaw before before the guest came through, and so I had actually chainsawed a little bit, and then I had started carving into the piece, and so I had a lot of chainsaw dust on the ground, and I had a lot of chisel chips on the ground. It was one of those days that it was calm, and the sun was out, and there was just a calm breeze. Anyway, these guests came walking past our area, and one of them said, "Ha, what a funny looking monkey." And what this poor fella didn't know was, just moments before they came by, I had just told my father that this figure's name is Hanui Orangi, the father of winds untamable. And my dad said, "Oh, that's a good one, go for it." And so when this fella said what he said, there was an interesting thing that happened. There was a strong breeze that came up behind us, and not just lifted up the chips, the dust, but all the wood chips, and it threw it on all of them, especially the one that opened his mouth. And both my dad and I looked at each other, and my dad said to them, "You realize you just insulted the wind?" And I tried to explain to them, while the others stayed and listened, but the guy that got covered with the dust, he just dusted himself off and left. My father passed away first, and then in 2010 my mom passed away, but before she did, she made me promise not to sell any of the chisels and to keep it in the family. And so I knew my dad would have wanted my brother and I to split the tools between the two of us, and so we did that. And since then I've been able to teach my two older sons, and I'd like to teach my younger one when the time comes about.
When I think about carving, I think about not just what I've been taught, but what's been passed down for generations. I feel like that since we're able to continue this tradition or skill, we're able to keep a part of a family trait that's been passed down for quite some time, and going all the way back into our Maori culture. It's kind of nice to think about how deep those roots go, and being able to still be a part of that.